Okay, everybody, this is part B, the detailed launch. All right, so if you see, we're just going to go through these. So I'm going to follow it really quickly. Here's the launch for week 5. Notice how often I'm showing you Bloom's taxonomy. I've got the first launch here, and the one I'm recording right now that shows the details is going to be called Week 5B launch. All right, this then asks you to click next, and you go to frequently asked questions about the definition paper. Things like, are we required to use quotes? How much first person can I use? Do I need to provide a dictionary definition? So it's got a lot of basic questions that are probably, maybe circulating in your mind, but you're not really sure, how to ask them or whether you even need to ask them. I don't know. Click next to go to the when or how to contact your professor about the grade you earned. So if you want to talk about the grade, notice here I say you've got to have a cooling off period, usually about 24 hours from when you see the grade. And this is if you're not happy with the grade. If you're happy with it, I hope you are. Notice I'm aware you worked really hard and that you don't think that you probably don't think your performance met your own standards. So try and remember, I'm your instructor. I'm not your editor. I give you limited feedback to point it out, but I don't go and correct everything. That's an editor's job, and that's not a professor's job. If you want more detailed explanations, please make an appointment with the Writing Center, as they're more equipped to do some kind of remediation on maybe some skill sets that need to be fine-tuned and brushed up on. Okay, so then I have this stop before you contact your instructor, do the following. So it's a little bit of troubleshooting, kind of helping you learn how to be your own best advocate, not just panic and contact the professor. All right, so make sure you review that. Click next to view a short video, how to use Wikipedia in college. Maybe you were wondering if you could use it or should use it in college. So as you can see, I have no idea why I've taught online this many times, and I just now have figured out how to make clickable icons. I guess, learn by doing. I'm in that camp too. From learning about Wikipedia, it's a really short. I rewatch it every time because it's so informative. Then you're going to click next to go to the chapter 6, skeptics may object, planting a naysayer. So you can see that here it is here. Your quiz, pick only one answer per response. After this quiz, you go to the discussion. It tells you click next, and you're going to the discussion. So the discussion is where you're going to read this paper. You'll be able to click here where it says definition. It's a paper, I believe from last quarter, maybe the quarter before, where the student's definition, the word or phrase was mutual aid. So I think you'll find it interesting how the student developed their argument, and you're going to grade it using the rubric and then make comments. Okay, so make sure that you go in here and take part in grading this student sample. It's really helpful for you to, I think most of you like to see samples so that you can kind of have some realistic expectations. I always hesitate to show you samples because then everybody says, oh, I wrote it just like the sample. So I used to not want to include samples for that very reason, because students, it seemed to inadvertently trap students rather than giving them, like, hey, here's one of the ways you can do this. All right, next, this is my favorite section because I am brutal when it comes to grading the to be verbs. Notice I have a little headstone, rest in peace to be verbs. That's how unimpressed I am with them. All right, so each of these strategies, if you click it, tells you, strategy number 1, and then you go to strategy number 2, right? So there's 6 of them. So they're short. You can read them in just minutes. So there are 6, and at the end of 6, you're going to go take the to be verbs quiz, okay? And it is based on that mini lecture, all right? Then after that, we're going to turn toward the concept of peer feedback. Why do we feedback? Why do we peer edit or provide each other feedback on each other's papers? Well, if you've been wondering that, this is a quick little, explanation how and why it's important to everyone involved. and why it's beneficial, I might add. I've never had anybody take part in peer review, peer editing, peer feedback, whatever you'd like to call it, and come to my office and tell me, oh my gosh, the student gave me way too much feedback. I didn't know what to do with it. Generally, students want more feedback. So I want you to keep in mind that students are wanting feedback. They're not sitting there hoping that you will think their paper is perfect and you won't have anything to say, but oh good, I like it. They want you to point things out before it gets to me. I agree with that. All right, next is go look at the peer feedback doc. All right, here it is right here. You can click it. What does it look like? I designed this peer feedback doc specifically for the definition paper. It is not a generic, underlined thesis. It is very detailed, and it will help you not only edit your peers' paper, but imagine your own paper differently in the process. Okay, so if you had trouble looking at the feedback, or you went, what? That looks clearer, but I wonder what she really means. Well, if that's the case, you'll move into the next one where it's a recording where I go over the screen. It's a screencast where I go over, how to do the peer feedback. How do you do it? What does it look like? Okay, next, let's see. How do you submit it? If you have never submitted a document for peer review or peer editing, I'd like you to click this link, Peer Feedback. It is going to take you to Canvas, which is going to describe for you very clearly how to upload your paper for peer review. All right, so this isn't my screencast. This is going to take you to Canvas. All right, next is the definition paper peer feedback workshop. This is the one where, notice here, your rough but not too rough draft is due Saturday, February 11th by 11:59 p.m. Then by Tuesday, the 14th, you need to have completed your peer review and returned it up through Canvas back to your peer, no later than Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. All right? The sooner you return it, the sooner your peer can start beginning their revisions. All right? Here again, a copy of the peer feedback doc. Read this really carefully. If you submit late, you are not going to be eligible for peer review or peer feedback, and you will lose points on your final paper. This is not something where I can add your paper after the fact. If you don't load it before 11:59, it will not be distributed by Canvas to one of your peers. All right? So make sure you read this. I also give you, kind of step 1, step 2, step 3, as you go through this. Click next to refine your focus on your definition paper. This is a document that I designed that I feel really helps students after they've written the paper and they've done some revisions. How do you really refine the focus? Make it a nice, narrow, tight, and compelling focus. This will really help you. And then finally, of course, it moves you on. That was my dog, Piper. It moves you on to wrap up the week. Okay, well, I think that's a lot, and you guys have plenty to do this week. Not over the top, but I think plenty, especially compared to last week. So I hope this has helped you